Hello and welcome to another day of coding with Computer Science 112. Today we're going to be talking lesson 10.4, 10-4, Butterflies 2. This is a continuation of Butterflies 1, so if you haven't done that, go ahead and go back and get that accomplished. So here we go. So last time Butterflies 1, what we did is that we created some butterflies, and what they did is they reproduced, and then we made it, or actually they didn't reproduce, but what they did do is they did get created, and they did have the ability to move and eat leaves. What we're going to be doing this one is we're going to get them to reproduce, and then we're going to make it so that our leaves are actually going to grow. So, in order to reproduce, we did talk about this before, where we studied the difference between create, hatch, and sprout. In this one, we're going to be basing it off the parent, so we are going to use that hatch command. So what we're going to do is if the butterfly's energy is greater than the birth cost, and that's going to be a slider that we create that goes from 5 to 20, we're going to lose the birth cost, and then we're going to hatch a butterfly, and then the new butterfly will have the energy of half the birth cost. So it's not a complete, like, getting all of the energy from the parent, which is kind of more realistic, and then we're going to make it so it moves forward so that we can see them separated from each other right off the bat, as well as just in case the parent's energy is low whenever this happens, they're able to potentially land on some food and move on. So what we're going to do is we're first going to start off by creating a birth cost slider that goes from 5 to 20, and then we're going to make it in our move butterflies that they have the ability to reproduce. We're going to have that happen after they eat, so they have enough energy, but before they die, so that way, they could potentially eat enough to have a baby. And we'll get there. And then we're going to put in our actual reproduce procedure. If the energy is greater than our birth cost, we're going to set our energy to be our energy minus the birth cost. We're going to hatch one. And for that new hatched one, they're going to set the energy to be the birth cost divided by 2. We'll move forward 1, and then we'll end everything. All right, that was a lot of talking, so let's just see what that code looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to my interface tab, and I'm going to go ahead and create that slider. So right here, and this isn't going to show up on your screen because of how OBS and Logo work, but I'm going to create a birth cost slider. So it's going to be birth cost, and it's going to go from 5 to 20. It's going to increment by 1. And then the value, let's just have it start at 10. Why not? All right, so we got this birth cost slider. I can move it. It goes up to 5, goes down to 5, goes up to 20. It can go anywhere in there, whatever. All right, now let's go into our code. So in our code, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our move butterflies. So fly, eat, reproduce. And then it happens after eat. We're going to go down here, and it doesn't exist yet, so to reproduce. And you could, like, move it up here if you want it. I'm holding Alt to do this. Reduce, just because it's kind of like in the order that it goes in. That's the only reason I'm doing it that way. So if energy is greater than the birth dash cost, that's that slider, then I want to set energy to be the energy minus the birth cost. And then we're going to hatch 1. And then we're going to set energy to be energy divided by 2. And then we're going to have it go forward 1, and then we're going to close our hatch, and then we're going to close our if statement. I think that should be it. If I do everything right, and I click on the right spot, check, interface, setup, and if I click this right, yeah, no, I think they did. I think they did make more, and then they all died off because they ran out of food. So that's awesome. That's what we wanted. Well, I mean, we don't want them to die, but, might as well. All right, so let's go ahead and go in here, and let's keep going. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to make it so the leaves grow so they don't run out of food, or if they do, that's because they ate it all. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a leaf grow rate slider, and that's going to go from 0 to 100. And we're going to grow our leaves so that what happens is if they have leaves, there's a chance that one of their neighbors is going to suddenly have leaves as well. You can think of it as kind of like the plants are reproducing too, right? So we're going to make it so that they choose a number. If they do, it selects one of their 8 neighbors to set their patch to green. Now it could set a patch that already has leaves to have leaves again, and it would change nothing about it, but that's just, something that we're going to have to accept in terms of our limitations of this program. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to create that slider, goes from 0 to 100. We're going to add some code. So we're going to add grow leaves right before we move butterflies. That way we have our chance of our butterflies being able to land on freshly grown leaves. And then we're going to create a procedure for growing leaves. We're going to ask our patches, hey, if you're green, do a random kind of dice roll. If you choose a number less than this, ask one of your neighbors, hey, go ahead and set your patch color to be green. The one intimidating thing in this, and I would say, is probably that there's these 4 sets of parentheses at the very end, and then at times that can be a little bit intimidating for students, and it's totally fine. You can do stuff like that. It's well within our grasp. So first things first, let's go and make that slider. And we're going to call this our leaf grow rate. And you can't see that until I click OK. It goes from 0 to 100. I'm going to have it set as a default value of 50. Perfect. Then I'm going to go into my code, and I'm going to go to my Go. And right before my move butterflies, I'm going to do grow dash leaves. Now that doesn't exist, so I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to say to grow leaves. We're going to ask our patches, hey patches, if your patch color is green. So only the green ones can do this. If random float, if you choose random float, all from 0 all the way up to, but not including 100. If that's less than our leaf grow rate, we're going to ask, scroll down a little bit, ask one of neighbors set P color green. Close one, close our if, close our ask patches, do a nice little end. There we go. Now if I did everything right here, interface, setup, and go. Oops, they ate it all. Let's have they just made a lot of babies really fast. Let's turn that down a little bit. Turn that down just a smudge. Set up and go. Yeah. So a lot of times you'll get into this oscillation where there's just enough food that the populations kind of explode and then they die off, and it's kind of interesting to watch, a little bit, therapeutic to watch too. So, all right, that is working as expected. You could follow one of these butterflies and see what was going on. It won't show on your screen if I do that, unless I do some specific stuff that I'm just not going to do. So that seems to be working, and that's all your code. So here's your assignment. So take that rabbits one that we did before, and we're going to change it to, again, from the butterflies to the rabbits. We're going to apply a lot of the same things. So we're going to make it so that we have the rabbits reproducing, and then we're going to make it so that the grass grows. So the grass, again, is going to have a grow rate from 0 to 100. We're going to do that whole riff random float thing in order to make it choose, hey, do you get to have more, do you get to create some more grass around you. Create a birth cost slider of 1 to 10, and then if it's greater than the birth cost, it should lose the birth cost and hatch a new rabbit, and then the rabbit will have some some energy to it and move forward 1 as well. Try these values, see how they work out, see if they work well for you. That's going to be it. Thanks for watching.